seems clear that Mallarme in Égiture attributes to chance itself the property of the divine Hegelian infinite. In this tale, it is chance that nothing escapes, that nothing is external to. No longer God, who is now cast down into nothingness, which is why chance is explicitly qualified as infinite. Hazard is infinite in this text. I do not have time here to go over this text in detail, but I can say you that chance in Égiture is basically always manifested in two ways. It can manifest itself, firstly, in an obvious way, in all the feeling of existence, all the inconsequential throws on mediocre verses. And in this sense, it is affirmed by reality in its everyday mediocrity. So we see that everything is hazard. In mediocrity, we see that nothing has sense. In bad verses, we see that it is contingent writing. But chance can also be denied by reality, says Mallarme, when suddenly there emerge apparently meaningful phenomena. For example, a throw of the dice that miraculously wins a game where life is at stake. Or more to our purpose here, a verse so apparently perfect, that it seems to result from a divine necessity. But of course, even in such a case, it is in fact still chance that produces this effect. Its negation is only its reaffirmation in the form of the extraordinary coincidence of the creator genius himself engendered fortuitously, sexually, so fortuitously engendered for Mallarme. Chance is thus equally present in that which affirms it as in that which denies it. And in this sense, it is infinite. As in Hegelian infinite, there is nothing outside it, since it contains at once its negation and its affirmation, apparent meaning and obvious meaningless. Now a question was to hand Mallarme on the basis of this dialectical infinitization of chance. How to equal with a human act this infinity of chance? How to become as infinite as chance? How to become divine? Chance is a figure of the divine within us. To become equal to it would thus be to bring us closer to the divine, eternally meaningless part of ourselves. But through what act, since every act is finite, contingent, that is to say produced by chance, by the thrown of dice, but not identical to chance. The act that most approximates to the infinite so understood, according to Mallarme, is hesitation. Why hesitation? Because in hesitation you are virtually what you are and what you are not. You are at once he who is on the point of committing an action, and he who nevertheless ceaselessly holds back from it. You are between the two, and you conserve these opposites potentially within you. In one the endings of Égiture, the hero seems to hesitate, retaining the dice in his hand rather than throwing them. But he ends up renouncing the throw and lays down forever upon the ashes of his ancestor. The master of hesitation is obviously Hamlet, the model for Égiture, and fundamentally for Mallarme, the only play to write and rewrite. He is very radical on this point, because his intrigue is precisely that of the infinite. But here again, in Shakespeare's play, the hero ends up choosing. He kills his father's murderer, and himself dies of being thus finitized. Let's come back to the coup de dé. If Mallarme had known the equivalent of a passion, he would have produced not only a human sacrifice, but a divine one. Not only a finite sacrifice, but an infinite one. Christ is not only a crucified man, he is a crucified man-God. To overcome Christianity, one must produce not only a passion, the sacrifice of the meaning of the poem to chance, but a passion that infinitizes the sacrificer, that is to say, one that infinitizes Mallarme himself. No, the unique action of the poem, as we know, is summed up in the phrase, the master hesitates, le maître hésite. It is the only action of the master, I said. He hesitates to throw the dice. The master's sole action is his hesitation, and this hesitation, unlike that of Hamlet or Égiture, is never overcome by a determinate resolution. Very simply, we know nothing of the master apart from his hesitation, which by this fact becomes eternal. Has the throw taken place or not? Is there a number or not? This is what seems to have been consigned forever to a hypothetical status. And this is why Mallarme does not write in conclusion, nothing will have taken place but the place, except a constellation, but instead, nothing will have taken place but a place, except perhaps a constellation. The constellation, the number, the throne of dice, has perhaps taken place, but perhaps not. On this basis, we can understand whence comes the necessity of the unique number. It cannot be another, this unique number, this unique matter, because it is infinite. That is to say, because this number already contains within itself its other, its proper non-being, qua undecidable hypothesis. It is, but just as much it is not. It is the eternally hypothetical result of a throw that is infinite, because forever hesitant, and thereby capable of equaling the necessity of chance itself. Mallarme would himself be infinitized by making himself the thrower of the dice who produces and does not produce the unique matter, making himself for all eternity the thrower and non-thrower of the two dice of the unique matter. However, what we have said seems to contradict our own conjecture about infinity. That of a well-determined number encrypted, on which we have shown to be equal to 707. According to what we have said, Mallarme did throw the dice. We know that. He produced his number, 707. We have a problem here. To produce a real passion, to go beyond representation, Mallarme must produce a performative poem. So he must produce code, a number, which is finite, definite, 707. But on the other hand, to produce a number which is necessary, which cannot be another, he must produce an infinite number. So a number which contains an essential hesitation, an essential indetermination. How can we reconcile these two parts of the solution? Let's come back to this number to finish, which appears too precise not to be contingent, 707, and thus hopelessly finite. In fact, what is the problem? The problem is that our solution about the counting is too precise. We count the words and we have a result, a certain result. But everything would change, however, were this number charged with an internal hesitation that infinitized it. A hesitation that at once made it equal and not equal to 707. How could this happen? How could the 707 could be the number of hesitation? Very simply, if we were almost certain that the poem was coded, but at the same time not entirely sure of it. Now, for this to be the case, what would be required? Well, that the count of words was not entirely certain to be equal to 707.